It was a night that no one expected on the Jennifer Hudson Show. Country music star Luke Bryan was invited for what was supposed to be a fun, light-hearted interview, but tensions quickly rose between him and the host, Jennifer Hudson. Fans, who tuned in expecting laughs and music talk, were taken aback when the interview suddenly took an unexpected turn. A heated confrontation between the two celebrities escalated, resulting in Luke Bryan storming off the stage, a shocking moment for both the audience and viewers at home. The interview began like any other, with Jennifer Hudson welcoming Luke Bryan with her signature smile. She praised him for his accomplishments in the music world and mentioned his charity work, which Luke was known for supporting. Luke responded graciously, giving insight into his latest projects. The atmosphere was friendly, and the audience was engaged. However, what started as a simple chat soon shifted into a tense exchange that no one could have predicted. As the conversation progressed, Jennifer, known for her directness, asked Luke about the personal side of his life. The question, seemingly innocent, was about his relationships with fellow country artists and his views on the evolving genre. At first, Luke responded with ease, offering polite and diplomatic answers. But Jennifer pressed further, asking specific questions about some of his past public feuds with other artists in the country music scene. It was clear that she was trying to dig deeper, but Luke's discomfort was beginning to show. It wasn't just the questions about other artists that seemed to unsettle Luke, it was the increasingly personal nature of the interview. Jennifer's approach became more probing, with her asking about Luke's private family life. Although Jennifer did not directly ask about sensitive issues, it was clear that she was skirting close to territory Luke wasn't ready to discuss on live television. As a celebrity, Luke had always kept certain aspects of his personal life out of the public eye, and the line of questioning seemed to push his boundaries. The tension started to build as Jennifer continued asking questions, trying to maintain the upbeat and entertaining tone of the show, while Luke's responses became more guarded. The audience, who had been enjoying the conversation up until this point, began to sense that something was off. Luke, visibly uncomfortable, shifted in his seat. He briefly paused before answering a question about his social media presence, expressing frustration over the constant scrutiny of his personal life. "Sometimes it feels like I can't even breathe without it being twisted," he said. At this point, Jennifer tried to diffuse the tension with a light-hearted joke, hoping to get the conversation back on track. However, her attempt to ease the mood didn't land the way she intended. Luke, still uneasy, gave a tight smile but did not laugh. The pressure was mounting, and Jennifer, realizing that her questions were making him uncomfortable, pressed even harder, remarking on how public figures often have to open up to stay relevant. This comment was a misstep, and it only increased the strain between them. The turning point came when Jennifer made a comment about Luke's recent album, which had garnered mixed reviews. She suggested that the public reception of his music might have been affected by his personal life, implying that his public image was overshadowing his artistry. This was the comment that Luke couldn't take. He shot Jennifer a look of disbelief, and his tone shifted. "I'm not here to be analyzed or critiqued for things that aren't part of my music," he said, clearly agitated. The audience fell into an uncomfortable silence. Jennifer, sensing the shift, attempted to lighten the moment with a quick quip, but it was too late. Luke, who had been patient until now, stood up abruptly. The studio audience gasped as he placed his microphone on the table and walked off the set, without a word. Jennifer, caught off guard, sat there for a moment, her smile fading as she processed what had just happened. The producers immediately cut to a commercial break, and the cameras zoomed out to cover the unfolding chaos backstage. As the commercial break ended, Jennifer was left to explain the situation to the audience. She apologized for what had happened, trying to reassure viewers that Luke was an important guest and that the conversation simply didn't go as planned. Behind the scenes, the production team was scrambling to figure out how to handle the situation. Sources later revealed that Jennifer had tried to apologize privately to Luke, but he had refused to return to the show. His team confirmed that he was frustrated by the invasive questions and needed space to cool off. The fallout from Luke's walk-off was immediate. Social media exploded with comments from fans, journalists, and even fellow celebrities. Some sided with Luke, calling out Jennifer for pushing him too far, while others criticized his decision to walk off, saying it was unprofessional. The #LukeBryanWalksOff trended worldwide, and news outlets were quick to pick up the story. Entertainment news shows discussed the incident at length, speculating about the long-term effects it would have on Luke's public image and his relationship with the media. Luke's fans, however, were largely supportive. Many took to social media to voice their opinions, with some writing, "Respect for Luke for standing up for himself, and Jennifer should have respected his boundaries." Others pointed out that celebrities should not be forced to share personal details, especially if they are not comfortable doing so. Some also pointed out that Jennifer's line of questioning was inappropriate, as it had crossed from professional inquiry to personal intrusion. It was clear that the incident had divided public opinion. The following day, Luke took to Instagram to share his side of the story. In a post, he explained that while he had a great deal of respect for Jennifer Hudson as an artist, he felt that the direction of the interview was taking him to uncomfortable places. "I came to the show to talk about music, not my private life. I think it's important to stand up for yourself when boundaries are crossed," he wrote. The post received overwhelming support from fans, who praised him for being honest and standing up for his personal space. Jennifer Hudson, for her part, responded to the incident in an interview the next day. She admitted that she may have pushed too hard during the interview and that she never intended to make Luke feel uncomfortable. "I respect Luke as an artist and as a person," she said. "It was never my intention to cross any boundaries, and I regret how the interview turned out." Her apology was seen by many as genuine, but some felt that the damage had already been done. The public's perception of her interviewing style had been altered. In the days following the walk-off, both Luke and Jennifer kept a relatively low profile. Luke returned to his music, continuing to promote his album through more traditional methods, while Jennifer continued her work on The Jennifer Hudson Show. Behind the scenes, the show's producers reevaluated their interview tactics, implementing new guidelines to ensure guests felt comfortable during interviews. The incident had highlighted the fine line between engaging conversation and intrusive questioning, and Jennifer's team took steps to be more mindful of this in the future. As the dust settled, The Jennifer Hudson Show became the subject of much discussion in the talk show industry. Several industry insiders noted that while Jennifer had always been known for her warm and empathetic style, this incident revealed the challenges of balancing personal curiosity with respect for celebrity privacy. Talk show hosts across the board began discussing how they could create more respectful environments for their guests while still maintaining engaging content. It was a teaching moment for the industry as a whole. In the weeks following the incident, the media continued to cover the story, but the narrative began to shift. While many were still discussing the walk-off, the conversation evolved into a broader discussion about the treatment of celebrities in the media. The incident had highlighted the complex dynamics of celebrity interviews and how they are often a delicate balance between entertaining the audience and respecting the privacy of the guests. Fans and critics alike began calling for a more empathetic approach to celebrity interviews. Behind the scenes, Luke's team and Jennifer's producers had several private meetings to discuss how the interview had gone off the rails. Sources revealed that Luke's representatives had made it clear that he was frustrated with the increasing trend of personal questions in interviews. Jennifer's team apologized for not giving Luke more control over the interview's direction, and both parties agreed that there would be more transparency in future talks about boundaries before filming. Meanwhile, talk show hosts around the country took notice. Some criticized Luke for walking off, arguing that it was a bad look for his professional image. However, a growing number of industry professionals began to applaud his decision, viewing it as an example of taking control over one's own narrative. They pointed out that in an industry where stars are constantly scrutinized, it was refreshing to see an artist draw a hard line when it came to personal privacy. This led to a greater conversation about the pressures placed on public figures, especially those who rise to fame at a young age. Many people sympathized with Luke's position, acknowledging that being constantly in the public eye could be exhausting. With social media amplifying every move, every word, and every relationship, Celebrities often find themselves in a no-win situation. As such, fans and even some celebrities themselves began advocating for more privacy rights for public figures. Luke Bryan's actions also had a ripple effect in the country music community. Several other country artists publicly expressed support for him, commenting on how the pressures of fame often lead to situations like the one that unfolded on Jennifer's show. Some singers shared their own stories about moments when they had been pushed to reveal too much or were taken out of their comfort zones during interviews. The support for Luke continued to grow, not just from fans but from within his own industry. Despite the controversy, Luke continued to dominate the music charts, releasing new singles that resonated deeply with his fans. His walk-off incident became a talking point in interviews with other artists, and some began to use the moment to raise awareness about mental health in the entertainment industry. Luke himself took a few moments during interviews to discuss how important it was for public figures to have the ability to protect their mental and emotional well-being in a world that constantly demands transparency. On the other hand, Jennifer Hudson's show saw a shift in viewership. While her fans remained loyal, the incident created a lingering curiosity. Some viewers returned to watch the show to see how Jennifer would handle future interviews, while others were hesitant, wondering if the show was now too risky for certain types of guests. The network worked hard to smooth things over by offering more behind-the-scenes access to Jennifer's personal approach to interviews, hoping to win back some of the trust that was lost during the incident. Jennifer's personal reflection on the incident led to an unexpected but important change in her approach to interviews. On a subsequent episode of her show, she spoke about how she learned from the experience. "We all have moments where we push too far, and I know I could have handled the situation with more care," she admitted. This moment of vulnerability showed that Jennifer was not only willing to apologize but was also committed to learning and evolving as an interviewer. Her fans respected this level of self-awareness. Meanwhile, Luke Bryan's continued success in the music industry was a reminder that his walk-off did not diminish his star power. His fans, who were proud of him for standing up for himself, kept showing up for his concerts, streaming his music, and supporting him at every turn. The incident, rather than derailing his career, solidified his reputation as someone who valued respect and integrity, both on and off the stage. It became clear that Luke was not only a country music sensation but also a role model for standing up for personal boundaries. The media coverage of the incident began to fade, but the lessons it taught remained. Over time, the story became less about the confrontation itself and more about how important it is for celebrities to maintain control over their narrative. Talk show hosts and interviewers began to take a closer look at their own practices, realizing that there had to be a better way to engage with guests, one that didn't rely on pushing boundaries for the sake of drama. For some time, it seemed like the relationships between Jennifer and Luke was strained, but insiders reported that both stars were working to repair their friendship. They had spoken privately after the incident, and while the conversation wasn't easy, it was said to be a productive one. Jennifer expressed her regret, and Luke acknowledged the pressures that come with being in the spotlight. In the end, both seemed to understand each other's perspectives more clearly, and the story was put to rest behind closed doors. The lesson learned from the incident is still being discussed by those who followed the story closely. It serves as a reminder that even in the world of celebrity interviews, there is a need for empathy and respect. In an era where every interview is an opportunity to capture viral moments, it's important to remember that celebrities are, first and foremost, human beings. Pushing them too far can lead to consequences that affect not only the celebrity but the public's perception of the media itself. As for the Jennifer Hudson Show, it continues to air successfully, with Jennifer continuing to welcome a diverse range of guests. The walk-off incident, though difficult, ultimately served as a catalyst for positive change in the industry. Jennifer's own professional growth, combined with the dialogue around respecting boundaries, helped to set a new standard for late-night interviews. The show's producers now ensure that all guests have more control over the conversation and that sensitive topics are handled with care. For Luke Bryan, the incident remains a defining moment in his career. While it was a difficult experience at the time, it was clear that it didn't break him. If anything, It reinforced his reputation as a thoughtful and principled artist who wasn't afraid to stand his ground. The incident would go down in talk show history, not as a moment of embarrassment, but as a turning point in how celebrities and interviewers engage with one another. As the months passed, both Luke Bryan and Jennifer Hudson continued to thrive in their respective careers. The incident, though unforgettable, became just another chapter in their long histories. The story of Luke Bryan storming off the Jennifer Hudson Show after a heated confrontation became a reminder that even in the world of fame, it's crucial to respect boundaries, both personal and professional. And for fans, the message was clear: standing up for yourself, even in the most uncomfortable situations, is always worth it.